I just bought every iPad, from the first iPad to ever launch all the way to the newest iPad Pro. It's time to take a little walk through the iPad history.
Today for the first time, and we call it the iPad.
iPad 1.
That's what it looks like. Very thin, and you can manipulate with your fingers. It's unbelievably great.
This came out in 2010. It was quite revolutionary for the time. It's a giant tablet that's touchscreen. Looking at it now, it looks quite outdated and kind of chunky, but back then it was like the craziest invention ever. And this is where we're really seeing the rise of technology and social media. Around this time is when Instagram first launched, so we're seeing all the cheesy, highly filtered photos on Instagram. Every girl, for some reason, had a crush on Justin Bieber.
You're crying because you love Justin Bieber?
Yes, that's what it is.
And some of the best mobile games were coming out at this time. We're talking freaking Angry Birds. I feel like this is probably the best era for mobile games, and it makes sense because now you could play it on a giant tablet. And here we have the first generation iPad. Look at this beautiful, iconic box. I was 7 years old when this thing came out. Oh my gosh, look at this thing. Peak Apple history right here. Prehistoric. As chunky as the first generation MacBook, this is not that bad. This is pretty okay. Oh, here she is. Time to unlock it. Whew. That just takes me back. So this is what the first generation iPad looks like. If you guys are below the age of 12, probably have never seen this a day in your life. But this is what us old school kids used to use. What's crazy though is like nothing works on this iPad anymore. Like it's just a brick at this point because you genuinely can't use Safari, you can't use the internet, you can't download any apps. Very unfortunate. But dude, the wallpapers on these things were crazy. A blast to the past. This is my favorite one. Back in the day, had the little ocean. Made me feel so cool having my own little wallpaper. What were you able to do on this thing? So I connected it to the Wi-Fi. Your browser is outdated. Yeah, no kidding. But I will say, I'll give it to Apple. The fact that this is still on and running says a lot. Sure, you can't really do anything on it, but I think it's just a fancy notebook now. I think that's all you can do is probably take notes. No apps, no games. The bezels are just hilarious to me. Like, look at how chunky they are. Like, they took up like the whole screen. This is actually the size of the iPad. Bro, imagine being in 2010 seeing this though. This must have been like record breaking. Even right now, I'm like, this is kind of cool. We do love the first generation iPad, but very unusable. Then in 2011, we got
Apple. Hey, Apple. Winning. Hey, Apple.
And guess what? I've got the iPad 2.
the iPad 2. This was already a huge upgrade because not only was it thinner, but it also added a front and rear camera. I don't know who's trying to take selfies on an iPad, but now you could.
iPad went bye-bye.
And Apple also came out with the Smart Cover, which was an iPad case that if you fold it on top of the iPad would automatically turn it off. And not only was the iPad really important in my childhood, but also this is when we're seeing pop culture like the iconic and annoying Friday song by Rebecca Black. Music was just better back then. And of course, we had some of the coolest mobile games. Cut the Rope, that's a banger. And one of the funnest games, Words with Friends. I was like 8 years old at this time, but you bet your bottom dollar I wanted an iPad more than anything else in the world. And here we have the second generation iPad. And might I say, huge glow up from the iPad. Like, how do we evolve this fast? Like, this is already insane. I mean, we still have the big chunky bezels, but the thinness of it is already crazy. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to see this side by side already. How do we improve that much on the second gen already? That's insane, because this like gets thicker in the middle part, but this one's very skinty. All right, so here is our second gen iPad. How did the apps change so fast already? Like, we have this like new updated layout compared to the first gen. This is definitely you versus the girl, the guy he tells you not to worry about, because like, and you bet your bottom dollar, we got a new camera. Finally, I can see myself on a big screen. Take iPad selfie. Oh my God, no. Stop, you're giving me PTSD. I can't hold the iPad with one hand. Right, right.
Oh my God.
The quality is so like dookie too. It's hilarious. But for a whole iPad, that's actually so funny. 8 megapixels, 2 megapixels. The first ever iPad is like not functional anymore, but I'm curious as to see if we can actually do stuff on this one. This is the second gen. So maybe we can actually like watch YouTube. Bro, the fact that we can actually use this is insane. See, this is when the first YouTubers were created. They were freaking like making YouTube videos on their iPad. So I would love to play one of the popular mobile games from this time, but unfortunately, a lot of the software doesn't work on here. You can't download any apps or go on the App Store anymore. It's just too outdated. Very sad. But there was always one thing you could do on your iPad if you had no Wi-Fi or internet.
dude. I don't see the difference. Look.
Bro, this is life-changing. Check this out. Do you know, this was the beginning of my career. It started on photo booth. I started making all the little videos. I was like, I don't know how this could entertain me for so long. I don't know if the apps always look like this, but right now they look pretty modern. Like, obviously they don't look like the apps we have on our current Apple products, but from just 1 year difference, this looks insanely better.
New iPad, and it is amazing.
Then in 2012, we got the 3rd and 4th generation iPad.
We've taken it to a whole new level, and we are redefining the category.
During this time, social media and pop culture in general just started going downhill. For some reason, the Avenger movies were going crazy, and for some reason everybody's wearing skinny jeans was just the best idea. Although pop culture was going backwards, the iPad was only getting better. We're getting the first Retina display iPad. The first iPad coming out in 2010, and then already in 2012 we were already getting these crazy changes.
Do it all more beautifully with the Retina display on iPad.
And we finally got rid of the thick pin cable, and then we switched over to the lightning cable. Been using for years up until like what, last year we switched over to USB-C. In 2012 we also got first iPad mini. This is quite literally the best invention Apple's ever made. 12-year-old Sarah was eating this up. I already know what the comment section is gonna say. Sarah, you skipped the iPad Air, the iPad mini. If we bought every single iPad, there would have been 18. Can't afford 18 iPads. But in 2013, they did launch the iPad Air and the iPad mini too.
Now this is pretty much the iPad mini I've been waiting for.
The iPad Air was called the iPad Air because thin as air. It was a way thinner iPad, and it even came with Touch ID. So they made the iPad Air to be a super thin iPad. Then they made the iPad mini to offer a miniature version. The iPad 3, 16 gigabytes on this thing is actually insane. What do you do with 16 gigabytes? You can take 2 videos now. Wow, okay, I'm not gonna lie, this looks exactly like the 2nd gen. They look, okay, oh no, we have an improved speaker right there. You see that? Crazy, crazy upgrades right there. Still have the chunky lightning cable, which is insane. This is definitely running better than all the other iPads so far. I think the closer we get to current day, the better they're gonna run, but I'm super curious to see if we can actually get some games on this thing. It's not compatible with this iPad? What do you mean? It started on this iPad. You're not compatible for the iPad. How dare it be like, oh, we're too good for you now. This iPad started Temple Run. What do you mean? Fruit Ninja 2? Bro, Angry Birds better not. All these apps think they're all that. But let me tell ya, this is where everybody was playing those games. I just think it's really rude of them to not leave a version that works with this. How bold of you to assume that I wouldn't still have the iPad 3. None of the games are compatible, like at all, which is very unfortunate because I feel like that's what you would use this iPad for. You would just play games. I mean, maybe you would watch YouTube. Oh, is there a 2012 rewind? Oh my gosh, they were making rewinds that long ago? Holy crap, that's insane. YouTube is old, bro. I feel like an unk right now. This is gonna take us back.
Rewind YouTube style.
What's going on? Stop, I'm gonna cry. I need a minute. Hold on. Just take me back. Now I'm getting all emotional during this video. I need to lock in, guys. Sorry. Sorry you had to see me like that. Missed that era. But this is the iPad 3, guys. And here we have the iPad 4 with Wi-Fi and cellular? What? They all look exactly the same, bro. I think this is the first time we're seeing the white iPad. I could be mistaken. This was also 2012. It says the 3rd and 4th generation both came out in the same year. Don't understand that, but I swear this is the first year that we got the white, which the white is clean. And we also finally got this little lightning port. I feel like TikTok killed everything. It killed our attention span. It killed our community. It killed our life. Like, think about it. Like, everyone just scrolls on TikTok endlessly now. At least YouTube was like somewhat beneficial. Comment down below if you agree. No, literally, do you know how many people I talk to these days that are like, oh yeah, I don't really watch YouTube? What do you mean you don't watch YouTube? Like, I'm a YouTuber. That's a direct fire against me. It does look very similar to the 3, but this white, she's clean. I believe this was the first time we're getting Retina display on this one. Although I'm not gonna lie, it looks real crusty. I wonder if the camera got better at this point. I feel like the camera looks a little bit better. Am I wrong? I think it looks a little bit more crispy. I'm capturing more details on my face. Subway Surfers, oh my gosh. They should have Subway Surfers OG, where it's literally just the original game. It's actually letting us download one. Now we're talking. Do you want to download the last compatible version? Now that's what I'm talking about, guys. Make a version compatible with my iPad 4. I feel like the 3rd to the 4th has been a good jump though. Like, it's actually working. Kick it back to the good old days. Bro, look how bucky it is. I feel like mobile games were so much more fun back then for some reason. I know I'm grown now, but I feel like maybe there was just more to do. I mean, less to do. So like games were like all we had. Like this was enough to like keep me entertained. Now I need to watch TikTok, watch TV, and play Mario Kart at the same time. Did I really have a good time playing this? Like really boring actually. Oh my God. Why is this low-key hard? What the heck? This has probably been one of the biggest jumps we've taken so far. We got better cameras. It's actually super thin. And this is just a matter of like 3 years and we've gone from the first generation iPad to this. That's literally insane. And then they made the iPad Pro in 2015.
And to allow for a new level of precision with iPad Pro, we've designed Apple Pencil.
It also introduced the Apple Pencil, which for the first time ever, there was an iPad that was compatible with an Apple Pencil. This was honestly the coolest thing ever to me. You could use the Apple Pencil for so many things. Drawing, taking notes, and even playing games. Students and artists loved the new iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil. The only problem with this iPad was trying to use an Apple Pencil against a glass iPad screen was a huge disaster, which is why I've actually been using the new Paperlike 3 screen protector. It's a screen protector that makes writing or drawing on the iPad feel like actual paper. They've actually been refining this for years with their nanodot surface technology. Basically, it's like a micro texture that gives you just the right amount of friction your hand would expect when writing on a piece of paper. Not too gritty, not too smooth. It just feels natural. And the best part of the screen protectors is that you don't lose any clarity. Even with the screen protector on, the screen still looks super sharp and vibrant, which is a pretty big deal if you're an artist or you like watching stuff on your iPad. And trust me, it's so easy to install and not stressful like other screen protectors. With Paperlike, you don't have to worry about dust bubbles or accidentally putting it on crooked because they came up with a new butterfly application system. And honestly, it changes everything. Your iPad screen actually stays covered until the exact moment that the Paperlike screen protector goes on. So dust is not an issue. And it comes with a little helper tool that lines it up perfectly and pushes out bubbles as you go. I installed my screen protector in like 5 minutes without any stress. And because it is super thin, less than 0.1 millimeters, it doesn't mess with the Apple Pencil at all. Every stroke is still precise, and it even helps your Apple Pencil tip from wearing down too fast. And on top of that, it's also an insane screen protector that protects your iPad from scuffs or scratches. For me, this has been a huge upgrade to my iPad. Whether I'm sketching up video ideas, marking up scripts, or just taking notes, it all feels way more natural. So if you're a student trying to keep everything organized, or an artist that wants a sketchbook out of your iPad, you will absolutely love the Paperlike screen protector. And it comes with a 100-day money-back guarantee. Like, they're that positive that you'll love it. So if you're like me and you feel like writing on glass is just not it, the Paperlike 3 screen protectors are 100% worth checking out. Links are in the description of this video, and huge thanks to Paperlike for sponsoring my iPad video. Like, shout out them. That's so sick. And even a smart keyboard. It opened the gates for what an iPad would be capable of doing. Finally came out with
El nuevo iPad.
Brand new iPad.
The iPad 5th generation.
the iPad 5th generation. Finally, the affordable iPad was back.
Come with me to buy an iPad.
And this time with ProMotion and 120 hertz display. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but looking at them side by side, it makes a huge difference. During the time of the iPad 5th generation, there was a big boom in fidget spinners and Fortnite. Fortnite was all of the rave.
Fortnite Battle Royale is a very lush. Fortnite is everywhere.
And I love that as we're getting better technology, we're also playing a lot more video games. It seems like our brains are just rotting. The more iPads Apple comes out with, the dumber we get, it seems. And here we have the iPad 5th generation. A couple years later, it's been 4 years since the last iPad. And this one, I believe, was the first ever iPad that I owned. I saved up all my money so I could help my mom buy it for me, for myself for Christmas. Oh my gosh, it's literally insane. It was a huge upgrade. Right now, it still kind of looks a little bit outdated to us, but look at this, dude. And not only is it way thinner, but it's not like it's chunky. You don't have that giant thing on the top. And most importantly, the freaking bezels, bro. The bezel. Like, this was long overdue. Sheesh, look at that glow up. Okay, iPad. Okay, Apple. We're in 2017, and look at this craziness. I mean, I feel like the bezels on top were still really big, but at least the sides got a little bit wider. That's nice. And even just like significantly thinner. Oh yeah, the camera is significantly better. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that crazy? I feel like this iPad was kind of old, but we were already on Despicable Me 3 at this point. This is like one of the most popular movies in 2017 when this iPad came out. Why do I feel like that was literally just a couple years ago? 7 years? Oh my goodness gracious. This was one of the best iPads of its time, of ever. I'm just saying that because this is the only one that I could ever get. Then in 2018, they released the iPad 6th generation.
On March 27, 2018, during Apple's special event, 6th generation iPad was announced.
And finally, we got support with the Apple Pencil on the base model iPad, which was huge, which means now you can use the Apple Pencil on the more affordable iPad instead of having to upgrade to the Pro just to use the Apple Pencil. And the new iPad came with the Edge Pro design that also came with Face ID. And now we're starting to get to a part where I can really remember, because this is when TikTok finally blew up.
I'll be Bastion.
Nerf Bastion. Had the epic launch of Infinity War. And the most popular games for this time were PUBG Mobile and Fortnite Mobile. And now we have the 6th generation iPad, and the box looks identical. This might be the same box, I'm not gonna lie. And surprise, surprise, it looks exactly like the 5th generation iPad. I feel like Apple is kind of one of those companies that like, they grow and then they plateau and then they grow and then they plateau. In between years, you're kind of just getting like the same product, just a little bit different. This is definitely one of those plateau years. So of course, this is the first iPad that we can actually use the Apple Pencil on. Well, at least the base model that we could use it on. And hopefully we'll cut to me having the Apple Pencil, but if we forget to shoot that, well. Other than that, there wasn't any huge upgrades on this iPad, but we do know what was extremely popular at the time. Freaking TikTok, what the beginning of the end. But I think it would be fun if we like saw what kind of TikToks were popular in 2018. No! No! This is what we traded YouTube for? This is disgusting. See, this is where it started going downhill. We started getting TikTok, it ruined everything. I did love that you were able to use the Apple Pencil on this iPad. Younger Sarah was loving the Apple Pencil. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But yeah, this was the iPad. What generation are we on now? We're all starting to just merge together.
In 2018, we made something that you didn't like. So in 2019, we made a top 10 Watch Mojo video!
Then in 2019, we got the iPad 7th generation. Big surprise! After 6, we got 7. And for some reason, I'm only seeing that we got a bigger screen from this point. So we went up to a 10.2-inch display on the iPad. Classic Apple fashion. Little upgrades. This is when Bisco Girl started popping off. And no, Old Town Road was like one of the most popular songs at this time. Very tragic. And the most popular mobile game was Call of Duty Mobile. Honestly, way better than PUBG, but that's just my opinion. And now we have the iPad 7th generation. Bro, all the same. What's happening? The box is identical. iPad 7th generation. Oh, look, we finally have some actually goodies in here. We have the Apple stickers, instructions, and charger. Wow, look at that, an authentic charger from 2019. They're all starting to look the same, but we did get a bigger iPad. Wow, I really think that's the only upgrade, to be quite honest with you. I want to see if the cameras maybe look a little bit different, or if they're kind of the same old generation and the new generation. The new one is better, a little bit. I don't really know. They both look kind of bad, to be honest with you. At this point, I feel like Apple started really just putting a lot of emphasis onto the iPad mini and the iPad Air. And this one's just kind of getting like tiny little upgrades, nothing crazy. It's actually kind of sad. I feel like it was just like a little bit of an afterthought at this point.
What's up, YouTube?
And we got the iPad 8th generation, upgraded us to the A12 Bionic chip, whatever that means, and had better performance when it came to multitasking or AR.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus,
Coronavirus.
There are fears a rapidly spreading virus has reached Australia.
In 2020, obviously, COVID hit, and everyone was playing freaking Among Us.
Among Us.
Among Us. That was a good time, especially to be playing that on the iPad. Here we have the iPad 8th generation, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that we're seeing the rose gold iPad. It's a banger. Ooh, and we're finally getting Touch ID. Honestly, this color was stunning when it came out. I actually really like. I still really like this color. If they came out with an iPad or a iPhone this color, it would still be banging. It's just so nice. And honestly, it was really cool that we got the Touch ID on the iPad. We're not really seeing crazy advancements still. Like the bezels are still really chunky up here. And like we're still getting like this curved shape, and mostly I feel like everything for the past like 5 years at this point are kind of looking exactly the same. They just weren't putting any effort into like making this a better product. Then it was 2021 and we got the iPad 9th generation. We got a true tone display and a 12 megapixel ultra wide front camera.
This is the new iPad.
And it pushes even further than the speedy A12 from last year's iPad.
With center stage, which was a pretty big deal if you took FaceTime calls on your iPad. And in 2021, we had Olivia Rodrigo's music everywhere, Squid Games was popping off, and freaking NFTs became a thing. Probably the best part of 2021 was Roblox was popping off. Like Roblox on the iPad 9th gen, like come on now. Like this is peak entertainment right now. Here we have the 9th generation iPad. Surprise, surprise, it looks exactly the same. Like ultimately the same as the last one, but the cameras are supposed to be better on this one, so we have to test that out to see if it actually made a significant difference. Sometimes I wish that Apple would just not launch a new product. what. Like, I don't think it was absolutely necessary from like generation 7 to this. And we really didn't need all that. Check out the selfie on the iPad. The camera got so good, so crispy. I feel like it's still not great quality, but we're making small strides forward. That was like the biggest upgrade to this iPad, which is kind of sad. Like, and who's taking pictures on the iPad? 9th generation iPad was very underwhelming, I'll tell you that much. But that's because we had to be ready for the 10th generation.
Hi, I'm Melody. Before we dig into all the new features, let's take a look at the new design.
Then in 2022, we got the iPad 10th generation. Might I say one of the best upgrades we've seen on the iPad yet. We finally got some flat edges, a super modern, sleek design, and an even larger 10.9-inch display. And finally, we have a USB-C charger instead of a lightning cable. Much needed. The front camera was now able to shoot in landscape mode. Although it came out nearly 3 years ago, still is a really, really good product. And I feel like this is the closest we got the iPad to like a Pro version or the Airs. And to be honest with you, Apple's made so many iPads, they all kind of look the same to me. And surprisingly, the most popular game at this time was Apex Mobile. And after this point, it seemed like Apple focused more on the Pro and Air model rather than the base model. So we got the iPad Air M2 and the iPad Pro M4, and these came out literally like last year. Now we have the one, the only 10th generation iPad. Wow. I need some like round of applause really quick. A moment of silence for our newest iPad. It's not the newest iPad, I lied. But it's the newest one we have. Check it out. That is an upgrade, my friend. How do we go that far, guys? Oh, what the heck? Let's just ignore the little damage on it. But look at this side by side. How did we get so far? The best upgrade we've seen on the iPad, in my opinion. Even from like the 1 to like the 4, this is still the biggest jump. Like the shape is different, the cameras are insane, the bezels are tiny. And finally, the iPad base model got some love because Apple just spent so much time working on the Pro and the Air, they didn't even think about the base model, but finally we've got a little revamp here. I think they did that on purpose though, because if you want like a good iPad, you have to spend more to get the Pro. So this iPad now has a bigger display screen than the previous one, and we also moved the camera from up here all the way to the side here, which is kind of an interesting play on Apple's part. I don't quite understand their reasoning behind that one. Just everything about this iPad is just significantly better, and I'm really curious to see how the cameras look on this thing. The iPad has come a really long way, hasn't it? And you can actually use the Apple Pencil with this one as well. Still only the 1st gen Apple Pencil, unfortunately. I don't know why I expected it to look a little bit. Technically, it just got like skinny tier and like thinner. Honestly, this is a great transition, right? I'm feeling like there's a newer, don't quote me on this, there might be a newer, the 11 might have solved this like bezel problem. We don't have an 11 right now, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I do have the newest iPad mini model and Pro model, so we can kind of compare all of the iPads and see how far we've come. Because it feels a little unfair to compare the first iPad to the newest iPad, because a lot of Apple's time and energy was poured into these rather than just the base model, which I don't know why they did that. It's kind of dumb. These, I feel like, especially this Pro, this is a beast. Oh yeah, these are the money. This is so skinty, bro. Oh my gosh, I forgot the Pro model got so thin. This is one of the thinnest Apple products that they've ever made. Like almost as thin as the iPod Shuffle, which was tiny. The iPad mini is probably my favorite iPad model just because it's so cute and little. Just very easy to carry around everywhere. Versus the newest Pro model iPad. I'm sorry we couldn't compare all of them, but it would just take a lot of time and a lot of money. So here are the newest iPad models, and honestly, they look amazing. And just to show you some perspective, this is the 1st generation iPad. This is like probably a more fair comparison of like what progress Apple has made, which is how thin the iPads have gotten and lightweight. Like I feel like the thickness has obviously significantly gotten better, but what you don't feel is how much lighter. This thing, it feels like a brick compared to this one. And even just like how much overall screen space we get now, it's literally unmatched. Like look at the bezels comparison. And the cameras on the Pro model, like significantly better. The first model didn't even have a camera, and now we're getting like this insane like iPhone-like camera on it. This was such a fun walk down memory lane to see how much Apple's improved with their iPads over the course of just 15 years, how insane it is, how good our technology has gotten. And it's kind of crazy, but I almost feel like I grew up with the iPad, you know? Like we grew up together. And I don't use an iPad at all, so. Back in the day though, I freaking loved it. When I was a kid, bro, I was running all the games up. I was running all the movies on there. But now the iPad has just become a total different thing. It's like, you can use it almost as an entire computer on its own. You can do editing, you can take photos, you can create amazing pieces of art with it. I think the iPad, although I'm not a huge user of it, it's an amazing tool that Apple's created. Apple has come so far over the years, and I'm so excited to see where they take the iPad next.